Good day to my respected supervisor and examiner. My name is Dianat Maujang bin Zafaran Effendi. Today, I am honored to present my final year project 1 titled Lightweight Honeypot for SME Cyber Threat Monitoring. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the team behind this project's guidance. The student would be me, and I was supervised under Associate Professor Dr. Johari bin Abdullah. And my final year project examiner is Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Adnan Shahid Khan. To understand why this project is vital, we must first understand the current threat landscape. So globally, cyber attacks cost the global economy over $10.5 trillion annually. There's also been a rising frequency in cyber attacks. In the third quarter of 2024, organizations faced a 75% increase in weekly attacks compared to 2023. SMEs are also frequently targeted because they invest fewer resources in cybersecurity. And how this applies to our country is that SMEs make about 97% of Malaysian businesses, and they face an average of 74,000 daily attacks in 2023 alone. Next, we will talk on why most SMEs don't adopt cybersecurity tools. Firstly is a high cost and complexity. Current tools are engineered for large corporations and are too expensive for SMEs. Secondly is information overload. Existing systems generate raw data that is too difficult for non-technical users to interpret. Lastly is high maintenance. Security platforms require constant monitoring beyond the capacity of businesses without IT staff. We move on to project objectives. Firstly is to deploy a web application honeypot in a secure, cost-effective cloud environment. Secondly is to implement a data pipeline to automatically collect, parse, and store attack data. And lastly is to develop an intuitive web-based dashboard to present threat data through clear visualizations for non-technical users. For the project scope, we want to do affordable intelligence. This provides a low-cost cyber threat intelligence models for SMEs. We also want to do it as an educational tool, as it helps non-technical owners understand real-world threats targeting their businesses. We then move on to web application focus. This specifically monitors web-based threats, such as WordPress attacks. And for deployment, this will be hosted on Amazon's Web Services, or AWS, using the free tier to eliminate infrastructure costs. For methodology, I decided to adopt a Scrum framework. This is because it has an agile approach which emphasizes iterative development and flexibility. Also, it has iterative cycles. Work is organized into 2-week sprints aligned with supervisor meetings. And for roles, the researcher assumes the roles of Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. For our literature review, we will begin with existing systems. Firstly is Teapot. Now, Teapot is a multi-honeypot platform using over 20 honeypot types. Teapot has everything a company or business could ever need, but the biggest drawback to this is it's extremely resource intensive. We also have Kibana, a powerful data visualization tool used for log analysis. The biggest drawback to this is the steep learning curve for non-technical users. And lastly, we have Wazoo, which is a comprehensive SIEM platform for threat detection and compliance. The biggest drawback to this is it requires significant technical expertise for setup. We move on to comparisons of existing systems. So the key gap is existing solutions are too complex for non-technical SME owners. The proposed solution is a lightweight system with business-focused actionable insights. As you can see on the table below, our project will have honeypot integration, automated data collection, real-time visualization, non-technical user interface, low resource requirements, is optimized for SME. We'll use a cloud-based deployment, which is AWS free tier. We'll provide actionable threat insights, which is business-focused design, and the cost will be free. Moving forward, we have questionnaire analysis. Now, a survey was done and we had 15 respondents answer. So starting with demographic, when asked about the current role or status, over half the respondents were students, but some were employees at SMEs, some were IT staff or a manager in a company, some were business owners, and some were self-employed. When asked about the age group, majority was between 18 to 25 years old. One person was above 56. One person was between the age of 46 and 55, and 13.3% was between the age of 36 and 45 years old. Now, for question 3, they were divided between the students were filtered out. Whoever chose student move on to question 5. So for question 3, they were asked about what type of business or industry are you involved with, and the responses were scattered, which is good, so we can get multiple perspective for this analysis. Then they were also asked about the company size, and every single one of them answered within the ranges of SME, which is perfect for this project. Okay, and now we move to questionnaire analysis. So, cybersecurity awareness. When asked about how familiar they were with cybersecurity threats, over half said they were very familiar with it. 20% said they were somewhat familiar. Another 20 said they heard about it but not in detailed knowledge, and only 1% said they were not familiar with it at all. And when asked about how concerned they were about cybersecurity threats to small businesses, majority answered that they were very concerned, while there were some mixed, where 3 people said they were not concerned, answering 1 or 2 on a scale of 1 to 5. And when asked about if they've experienced any cyber incidents or known about any cyber incidents in the past 2 years, we also get multiple responses, but for the most part, they were either not sure or only once, and only 20% of them had experienced cyber incidents more than once. So for question number 8, for non-students, the question was, do you think your business currently uses any cybersecurity monitoring tools? And for students is, do you think most businesses use cybersecurity monitoring tools? Most of the answers were that they only use basic antivirus, and only one respondent said they use a comprehensive security suite. And then when asked about what the biggest barrier was for SMEs to implement cybersecurity monitoring, the most answered one was a lack of expertise or knowledge on how to do it, followed by too expensive, and then it was too complex to set up and maintain. The other options were the SMEs don't think they are big enough to be actual targets, and they're also a bit time consuming to do. For system requirements and expectations, the question was how important would it be for a cybersecurity tool to be easy to use without technical knowledge, and majority said very important, either 4 or 5 out of 5, and then said, would you use a free cloud-based security monitoring tool? And we get mixed reactions, but they would say yes, but depending on the quality of the tool itself. So majority said maybe, but we need to see how it works first, and yes, but only if it's reliable and trustworthy. And then we asked about what features would be most valuable in a tool for a small business. The number one answer was easy to understand threats, followed by real-time attack notifications, and also mobile phone accessibility. And when asked about how often do you think a small owner should check a cybersecurity dashboard, majority 40% said daily, 1% said 33% said weekly, 13% said monthly, and only 1%, if I'm not mistaken, said only when they receive a notification, so they won't check until they get an alert that an attack is happening. In the questionnaire, the respondents were given a brief description of the proposed system. So I will read out what the description was. So this project proposes a lightweight honeypot system designed specifically for small businesses. Honeypot is a decoy system that attracts cyber attackers, allowing you to monitor who is trying to attack your business without risking your real website or data. The system runs on a free cloud infrastructure and displays attack information through simple visual charts and plain language summaries, such as your business received 127 attack attempts this week, mostly from China, trying to guess passwords. No technical knowledge is required to use it. After giving this short description, they were asked about how useful do they think this system would be for small businesses, and majority of them said very important, answering 4 or 5 out of 5. But then when asked about how likely would they use this system, or how likely would they recommend the system to a small business owner, we get quite a bit of mixed up answers. So 3 answered 2 out of 5, 3 of them answered 3 out of 5, 4 of them answered 4 out of 5, and 4 people answered 5 out of 5. And then the system shows data using charts instead of just text and numbers. It was like how helpful do they think this visual approach is for cyber threats? And majority answered 5 out of 5, very useful, while one person said not useful for visual. And when asked about the plain language summary, the 127 attacks, mostly from China, how useful is that? Again, majority answered very useful. 26.7% answered somewhat useful, and the rest were neutral about that. To understand what type of person would need this kind of honeypot cybersecurity tool, I created a user persona, Rajesh. Now, Rajesh is a 42-year-old small online retail business owner, and the challenges he faces is he lacks formal IT training and is easily overwhelmed by jargon and feels too small to be a target. And the goal that he needs is he needs clear visual evidence of threats to make informed security decisions. So now for system architecture. This project uses a 3-tier architecture which separates presentation, business logic, and data storage. So for the honeypot, we use WordPod, which is a low interaction WordPress simulation. For storage, Elasticsearch for logs, and SQLite for administration. For backend, we will be using Python and Flask. The image here shows how the system architecture could look like, so it's easier to understand. So for system design, we move on to data pipeline first. So for phase 1 is log ingestion. This monitors and validates raw JSON logs. For phase 2 is enrichment. This adds geographic data such as GeoIP and classifies attacks such as brute force. For phase 3 is storage. This commits enriched records to Elasticsearch. The diagram down below is how the data pipeline works. So for system design, we move on to data flow diagram. For level 0, this shows the interactions between attackers, SME owners, and the system. So the attackers send attack requests to the honeypot system. Then the honeypot system sends the attack intelligence to SME owners. The honeypot system also displays what the attack request or any information from the attackers through a dashboard on the web application. And then the SME owner sends authentication credentials. For level 1 data flow diagram, it is for internal processes such as capture, parse, enrich, authenticate, and the dashboard. So the attackers send attack requests, and process number 1 captures the attack, and it converts them to raw logs, and then sends it to process number 2, which parses and enriches the logs. The enriched data is then sent to the attack database, which is Elasticsearch, and it queries the results. And process 3 generates the dashboard. For process 4, it authenticates the user, And to do this, for user credentials, it uses SQLite, which is in database number 2. Now for database schema, firstly is Elasticsearch schema. This is optimized for unstructured logs such as attacker IP, country, or attack type. So for the user table, we can see the primary key is user ID, and for system configuration, the primary key is configuration ID. For dashboard report table, it's report ID, the primary key. And then for SQLite schema, it manages user authentication, system configuration, and system reports, as you can see in the attack log table. Now let's look at the system design through these wireframes. Our goal is to move away from complex text-heavy interfaces. First, we have a simple login page to ensure that only authorized personnel can access the threat data. Once logged in, the user is greeted by the dashboard overview. Instead of raw code, the owner sees high-level visualizations like a threat level indicator and a map showing where attacks are originating, and this allows for an immediate at-a-glance understanding of their security status. Now, for users who want to see more detail, the attack log page provides a clean searchable list of every attempt blocked by the honeypot. If they click on a specific entry, the attack detail model appears. This is a crucial feature for SMEs. It translates cryptic technical logs into plain language, explaining exactly what the attacker tries to do. For example, brute force attempts on admin password, so the owner understands the risk without needing a CS degree. The reports page is designed to provide affordable intelligence. It allows the owner to generate weekly or monthly PDF summaries that they can use to make informed decisions about their business's digital safety. We also have user management page, which is kept very minimal. This allows the business owner to grant access to a trusted manager or external consultant without giving away their primary administrator credentials. Finally, we have the system configuration page. In many professional SIEM tools, this section is incredibly daunting for non-experts. In this lightweight system, we focus only on the essentials, toggling the honeypot on or off, and setting up automated email alerts. This ensures the system remains a set and forget tool for busy SME owners who cannot afford to spend hours on IT maintenance. And for expected outcomes and conclusion, we are bridging the SME security gap. The targeted solution addresses the lack of resources in Malaysian SMEs by providing a tool that requires zero technical expertise and no budget. It takes a proactive posture, which shifts business owners from a reactive mindset to a proactive defense by making real-world threats visible and understandable. So, the key technical outcomes is zero-cost infrastructure, which successfully leverages AWS free tier to eliminate expensive hardware costs for small businesses. Simplified intelligence. It transforms raw cryptic attack data into intuitive visualizations and plain language summaries. For relevant monitoring, it uses WordPod to capture high-frequency web application attacks that specifically target WordPress using SMEs. And for final project impact, it is validation. The survey data confirmed that 80% of respondents found that the proposed lightweight approach is useful for their businesses' needs. In a resilient economy, it creates a resilient economy by lowering the barrier to entry for cybersecurity. This system contributes to a more secure and resilient digital economy in Malaysia. Thank you very much, and I hope all of you have a very good day.